Chapter 54, Exploded. It exploded, too. Students, do you know what is the most important foundation of the mystery branch? Mind power. Fire pleas were almost uniform. Wen Xiao smiled and nodded. It looks like all of you have tried your best in private. That's right. To the mystery branch, the most important foundation is mind power. There's no contest. Without powerful mind power, an individual would not be able to unleash powerful abilities even if they were of the superb type, sensory type, or radiation influence type. So, the training of mind power will start on the first day we enter the school and continue until the day you die. His tone was a little stern. Many students could not help but tense up. However, mind power is formless and has no substance. It can be materialized through training and can even be used to unleash astonishing power. Ever since the Great Genetic Age, countless ancestors had researched this theory for nearly 100 years. But they still could not come up with a feasible theory of objectification. There had been no breakthroughs in human anatomy or genetic research. It was still the most mysterious part. Therefore, the public training method has always been simple but effective. Student, please speak. A student below the stage raised his hand. Teacher, since there are public ones, does that mean that there are hidden training methods? Yes, that's right. However, you would have to have a certain level of mind power, or even meet a special requirement before you can come into contact with it. Mr. Wen, what requirements do I have to meet? You'll naturally know when you arrive at that point. I want to remind all of you not to bite off more than you can chew. Based on the calculations from the Genetic Committee, the current method of training one's mind power is the most effective as long as one persists. It will also increase at the fastest rate. The rotund Mr. Wen took the opportunity to remind the other students. All right, we will now officially begin the first lesson of mind power training. Do you see the bottle in front of you? This bottle is called the vacuum silver tantalum bottle. It is specially used for training and testing of mind power at the early and mid levels. Attention, the tantalum here is not the tantalum that you have seen in your textbooks. Instead, it is a tantalum that has been taken from Mars. It is also called tantalum dicyanide. It is an extremely rare material. This material could absorb a person's mind power and greatly reduce the leakage of mind power. You'll understand after you try it out. Alright, look at the vacuum silver tantalum bottle in front of you. If you can focus your attention on the tantalum dicyanide in the bottle, then you could try pushing it. The greatest extent to which you push forward is your current mind power scale. The constant repetition was part of the training process. When your mind power scale increases again the next day or one day, that would be considered an increase. Alright, we will now begin our first training. All students, listen to my instructions. First, gather all of your attention on the nameplate of the vacuum silver tantalum. Then, you would have a strange sense of contact when you focus all of your attention. Take note, it's all of your focus on the nameplate. Follow the sensation of contact with the nameplate and push it forward with all your strength. Remember, push with all your strength and you will be able to determine the scale of your mind power. Alright, let's begin. Following Wen Xiao's instructions, all of the mystery branch students started to try out the method of training their mind power. Zhu Tui also started to focus and push the nameplate with his mind power. Some of the students moved quickly. The nameplate swayed very little. Some of them were anxious or even disappointed. Read the latest chapter at. Wen Xiao's voice continued to ring out. Students, don't be anxious. Even the first time is a little difficult. You can try it several times. After you familiarize yourself with it, you can get the highest value, which is the scale of your mind power. Bang! A short, piercing explosion suddenly rang out and interrupted Mr. Wen Xiaoan. It also interrupted the students' training. A few students let out piercing screams when the explosion rang out. Zhu Tui, who was sitting at the back of the classroom with a piece of broken glass stuck in his face, had a confused expression. It shattered. It exploded. He had only followed Mr. Wen Xiao's instructions and focused all of his attention, which was his mind power. He then pushed with all his strength. The nameplate in the bottle rose abruptly and hit the wall of the glass bottle. Then, the glass bottle exploded. Zhu Tui was dumbfounded. All of the students in the mystery branch also turned their gazes towards Zutui. Gongling, a beautiful girl wearing a string of pearls, and a skinny young man looked at this scene thoughtfully. Mr. Wen quickly walked in front of Zutui. He furrowed his brows when he saw the glass shards on the ground. "Are you sure you didn't crush the glass bottle because you were too nervous?" Wen Xiao asked with a frown. Zutui was sure that was not the case. However, at this moment, Zutui understood that his mind power might be a little different from other students. He should avoid being in the limelight. It was like the shape of a hand. He could see the bones in the back of his hand. The chubby palm looked the best, and it felt the most comfortable to touch. "I'm not too sure. Perhaps I was too nervous." Zutui removed the glass shards that had pierced his face in a daze. It was a little painful. "Okay." Wen Xiao nodded. He pointed toward the injured students and said, "Bring those students along for a checkup after class. You'll be responsible if there are any problems." "No problem, teacher." Zutui nodded like a chicken pecking at grains. "All right, then you can continue your training and get another one." "Oh, yes. What's your name?" Wen Xiao suddenly asked. "Mr. Wen, my name is Zutui." Zutui, the eyes under Wen Xiao's fisherman hat moved slightly. "Which faculty?" "The School of Enlightened Mind." "All right." Wen Xiao nodded. He was deep in thought as he continued to walk toward the platform. He suddenly stopped and spoke to Zutui after taking a dozen steps. "Zutui, come to my office after class." "Mr. Wen, what's the matter?" Zutui, who had made a mistake just now, was a little nervous. Wen Xiao smiled. "It's nothing. However, you damaged a vacuum silver tantalum bottle just now. That is public property. You have to compensate us." "Huh?" Zutui's confused expression soon turned into one of worry. Was the vacuum silver tantalum bottle that valuable? He had to go to Mr. Wen's office to negotiate compensation. How expensive would that be? Zutui immediately felt his heart ache for his wallet.